The evacuation sirens had fallen silent an hour ago, leaving behind only the haunting echo of Marcus Reed's footsteps. Through the abandoned Kepler research station, emergency lighting cast eerie red shadows across the metal corridors as he made his final sweep, his medical bag weighing heavily on his shoulder. As a field medic, he'd volunteered to ensure no one was left behind before the station's complete abandonment. The Shadowburn had struck without warning, their dark ships emerging from hyperspace like phantoms. The research station, positioned on the edge of neutral space, had become another casualty in the endless war between the Alliance and the mysterious invaders. Most personnel had evacuated within the first hour, but Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that someone had been overlooked. His portable scanner detected faint life signs 3 levels down. In what used to be the xenobiology labs, Marcus quickened his pace, taking the emergency ladders 2 at a time. The life signs were weak, fluctuating in a pattern that suggested severe trauma. As he rounded the corner into the main lab, his breath caught in his throat. Pinned beneath a collapsed support beam lay the most beautiful being he had ever seen. Her skin seemed to shimmer with an inner light, like pearls reflecting moonbeams, while crystalline formations along her arms and shoulders pulsed with soft bioluminescence. Long, silver-white hair spilled around her like liquid starlight, and, even unconscious, her features held an otherworldly elegance that made his heart skip. She was crystalline, one of the mysterious race that rarely interacted with other species. Their warriors were legendary, beings of incredible beauty and deadly grace, who could manipulate energy itself. But this one was broken, her usually radiant skin pale and her crystal formations dim. Marcus dropped to his knees beside her, his medical training overriding his awe. The beam had crushed her lower spine. His scanner confirmed what he feared most. Even if she lived, she would never walk again. Her breathing was shallow, and internal bleeding was slowly stealing away what little life remained. "Hey," he whispered, gently touching her shoulder. "Can you hear me?" Her eyes fluttered open, the most incredible shade of violet he'd ever seen, like amethysts catching light. For a moment, confusion clouded her gaze. Then sharp intelligence focused on his face. "Human," she breathed, her voice like wind chimes. In a gentle breeze, "You should not be here. The evacuation. Everyone else is gone," Marcus said, already working to stabilize her condition. "I'm Marcus Reed, field medic." "What's your name?" "Zephyra." She tried to move and winced in pain. "My legs, I cannot feel them." Marcus's heart clenched at the mixture of vulnerability and fierce pride in her voice. "I'm sorry. The damage is severe, but I can help with the pain, keep you stable." "No." Her violet eyes met his with startling intensity. "Leave me. I am of no use like this. A warrior who cannot fight is already dead." "That's not true," Marcus said firmly, surprising himself with his vehemence. Something about her stirred protective instincts he didn't know he possessed. "You're alive. And that means there's hope." Zephyra studied his face, searching for something. "Why? Your people owe mine nothing. We have remained apart from your wars, your alliances. I am nothing to you." Marcus continued working, injecting pain relievers and stabilizing compounds. "Maybe that's exactly why. No politics, no obligations. Just one person helping another." A faint smile touched her lips, transforming her features from merely beautiful to breathtaking. "You are unusual, Marcus Reed. So I've been told." He managed to free her from the debris, carefully checking for additional injuries. "The transport ships are gone, but I have a small medical shuttle in the emergency bay. I can get you to a proper medical facility. The nearest hospital that would treat a crystalline is 3 systems away," Zephyra said quietly. "Your shuttle lacks that range." Marcus's mind raced through options. She was right. His emergency shuttle was designed for short hops, not interstellar travel. The research station's main ships were either destroyed or had departed with the evacuation fleet. They were stranded. "Then we wait," he said simply. "Emergency beacons been activated. Someone will come." "The Shadowburn patrol these sectors now," Zephyra warned. "They will find us long before any rescue arrives. Let me worry about that." Marcus finished his initial treatment and sat back on his heels. "Right now, my job is keeping you alive. Zephyra's crystalline formations pulsed brighter for a moment, responding to her emotions. You would risk your life for a stranger, for someone who may never be whole again. Being whole isn't just about walking, Marcus said, meeting her gaze. And you're not a stranger anymore. You're my patient, and I don't abandon my patients. Something shifted in Zephyr's expression, surprise, perhaps, or the beginning of trust. Your people speak of crystalline coldness, how we lack emotion. Yet you show more warmth than many I have known. Maybe we've both been listening to the wrong stories about each other. The station shuddered suddenly, and distant explosions echoed. Through the corridors, Marcus checked his scanner. Multiple ships approaching fast. The Shadowburn had found them. Can you move at all? He asked, already calculating escape routes. With support, perhaps, Zephyr's pride warred with practical necessity. But I will slow you down. Save yourself, Marcus Reed. Remember a warrior who chose to face the end with dignity. Not happening. Marcus slipped his arms around her, lifting her carefully. She was lighter than expected, her crystalline biology apparently different from human physiology. We're getting out of here together. As he carried her toward the emergency tunnels, Zephyr's arms wrapped around his neck for support. The contact sent an unexpected warmth through him, and he caught her studying his face. With those remarkable violet eyes. You are either very brave or very foolish, she murmured. Probably both, Marcus admitted, trying to ignore how perfectly she seemed to fit in his arms. But I've never been good at leaving people behind, even crystalline warriors who may never fight again, especially beautiful crystalline warriors who deserve a chance at a different kind of life. Zephyr's bioluminescent patterns flared briefly, and Marcus wondered if he'd overstepped some cultural boundary. But when she spoke, her voice was softer than before. Beautiful, incredibly, he said without hesitation, then felt heat rise in his cheeks. Sorry, probably not appropriate given the circumstances. On the contrary, Zephyr said, her smile returning. It has been some time since anyone saw beauty in a broken warrior. Then they weren't looking hard enough, as the station shook under enemy fire. Marcus carried Zephyr into the tunnels, already wondering how a routine evacuation sweep had become something that felt remarkably like the beginning of destiny. The abandoned hydroponics bay deep in the station's lower levels had become their sanctuary. Marcus had chosen it carefully. The thick biocontainment walls would shield them from most sensors, while the residual organic matter masked their heat signatures. Emergency power still flowed here, providing dim lighting and basic life support. Zephyr lay on an improvised bed of emergency blankets, her crystalline formations casting gentle patterns of light across the curved walls. Marcus knelt beside her, changing the dressings on her wounds with practiced efficiency. 3 days had passed since their escape into the tunnels, and the Shadowburn still prowled the station above. Your hands are gentle for a warrior, Zephyr observed, watching him work. Her voice had grown stronger, though her legs remained motionless beneath the thermal blankets. I'm not really a warrior, Marcus admitted, checking the readings on his medical scanner. I mean, I can fight when I have to, but I became a medic because I wanted to heal people, not hurt them. Yet you fought 3 Shadowburn scouts yesterday to protect me. Her violet eyes held a warmth that made his pulse quicken. That sounds like a warrior to me. Marcus felt heat rise in his cheeks at the memory. When the enemy patrol had discovered their initial hiding spot, something primal had awakened in him. The thought of them harming Zephyr had triggered a fury he'd never experienced before. He'd fought with desperate skill, managing to eliminate the threat before they could call for reinforcements. That was different. He said quietly, I couldn't let them hurt you. Why? The simple question hung between them, loaded with implications. Neither had yet voiced. Marcus paused in his work, meeting her gaze. I don't know. Maybe because in all this darkness and war, you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Maybe because you deserve better than dying alone in some forgotten corner of space. Zephyr's bioluminescent patterns flared softly. A response he was learning indicated strong emotion. Among my people, beauty is considered a warrior's burden. It makes us targets, complications in battle. I have always seen it as such. Then your people are fools, Marcus said with quiet conviction. Beauty isn't a burden. It's a gift. Your light, the way you move even when you're hurt, the music in your voice. It reminds me why things are worth fighting for. She reached out, her fingers brushing against his hand. The contact sent electricity through him, and he saw her crystal formations pulse brighter. You speak as though you have known great darkness. Marcus caught her hand in his, marveling at how perfectly their fingers intertwined despite their different origins. My unit was decimated 6 months ago. I spent weeks treating wounded soldiers, watching good people die while I couldn't save them. I started to think maybe there was no point to any of it. And now I know there is. He lifted their joined hands, pressing a gentle kiss to her knuckles. You're worth everything, Zephyra. Even if we don't make it out of here, finding you, it's changed something in me. Her free hand rose to touch his face, tracing the line of his jaw with wonder. Your skin is so warm. Crystalline physiology runs cooler than human. I had forgotten what warmth felt like. The tender moment was interrupted by a soft chime from Marcus's communication device. He reluctantly released her hand to check the message, his expression brightening with hope. It's a rescue signal, he said excitedly. Alliance ship in the outer system, requesting status of any survivors. But as he tried to respond, only static answered. Zephyra watched his face fall with growing concern. The signal's too weak, he said, frustrated. We're too deep in the station, too much interference. The communications array, Zephyra said. Thoughtfully, it was damaged but not destroyed. If someone could reach it. That's 12 levels up, right through Shadowburn patrol routes. Marcus shook his head. Too risky. Not for you. Her violet eyes held absolute faith. You move like a ghost when you need to. You could reach it. I'm not leaving you alone down here. Marcus, her voice carried the authority of a warrior princess, even flat on her back. This may be our only chance for rescue. You must go. No. His response was immediate and final. I won't abandon you. There has to be another way. Zephyra studied his stubborn expression, and her stern mask softened into something tender. You truly would stay, even if it meant certain death for both of us? I'd rather die here with you than live knowing I left you behind. The raw honesty in his voice made her crystalline patterns flare brilliantly. In that moment, something fundamental shifted between them. This was no longer just about survival or duty. It was about two souls recognizing they belonged together. Then perhaps, she said softly, there's another way. My people have resources hidden throughout this sector, ancient sites that predate the current war. What kind of resources? Healing chambers. Technology so advanced that most consider it mystical. Her expression grew troubled. But they are forbidden to outsiders. Using one would bind us together in ways your people don't understand. Marcus felt his heart race at the implications, but his voice remained steady. What aren't you telling me? The chambers don't just heal, Zephyra admitted, her luminescence pulsing with nervous energy. They create permanent neural bonds between those who share them. Among my people, it is reserved for life mates only. Once linked, we would feel each other's emotions, share thoughts, be connected until death. The weight of her revelation settled between them. Marcus realized she was offering him not just her healing, but her entire existence. And you would risk that? He asked quietly. With someone you've known for 3 days, Zephyra's hand found his again, her grip firm despite her injuries. Marcus read, in 3 days you have shown me more genuine care than I received in 3 centuries of life. Among my own kind, if I must be bound to someone forever, I can't think of anyone I'd rather be bound to. He finished, bringing her hand to his lips again. Her smile was radiant enough to light the entire chamber. The nearest site is only 2 levels up. But Marcus, you must understand, this bond, once formed, cannot be broken. Are you certain? Looking into her violet eyes, feeling the rightness of her presence beside him. Marcus had never been more certain of anything in his life. Show me the way. The ancient chamber lay hidden behind what appeared to be a maintenance panel, its entrance sealed by crystalline formations that responded only to Zephyra's touch. As Marcus carried her through the shimmering doorway, his breath caught at the sight before them. The room seemed carved from a single massive crystal, its faceted walls pulsing with soft bioluminescence that shifted through the spectrum, like captured aurora. At the center stood an elegant pod-like structure, its translucent surface swirling with patterns of light that seemed almost alive. The air itself hummed with energy that made his skin tingle. "It's beautiful," Marcus whispered, carefully setting Zephyr down beside the healing chamber. "And sacred," she replied, her own crystalline formations responding to the chamber's energy with increased luminosity. "This technology is older than recorded history. My ancestors built these sanctuaries throughout the galaxy as gifts for future generations." Marcus studied the chamber's organic curves, noting how it seemed designed for two occupants rather than one. "This requires both of us. The healing process draws from the life force of both participants," Zephyr explained, though her voice carried an undertone of nervousness. "One gives strength while the other receives it, but the energy exchange creates permanent neural pathways between your minds. And you're sure about this?" Marcus knelt beside her, taking her hands in his. "Once we do this, there's no going back." Zephyr's violet eyes met his with unwavering determination. "Marcus, I have lived for 3 centuries as a warrior, following duty and honor above all else. But these past few days with you, I have felt more alive than in all those years combined. If I must choose between a life of isolation or a bond with you, the choice is simple." Her words sent warmth flooding through his chest. Marcus had experienced attraction before, even love, but nothing like this overwhelming certainty that she was meant to be part of his life forever. "Then let's do this together," he said, helping her into the chamber. The healing pod's interior was lined with a soft, pearl-like substance that molded itself to their bodies as they settled inside. Zephyr guided him to lie beside her, their faces inches apart in the intimate confines. The chamber's walls began to glow brighter, responding to their presence. "The process will feel intense," she warned, her breath warm against his cheek. "Our minds will touch in ways neither of us has experienced. Don't fight it. Surrender to the connection." "I trust you," Marcus said simply, and meant it completely. The chamber sealed around them with a sound like wind chimes, and immediately the air began to shimmer with energy. Marcus felt a tingling sensation, started his fingertips, and spread up his arms, while Zephyr's crystalline formations blazed with new intensity. Then their minds touched, and the universe exploded into sensation. Marcus gasped as Zephyr's consciousness flowed into his own, bringing with it centuries of memories, emotions, and experiences. He felt her warrior's pride, her loneliness among her own people, her secret dreams of finding someone who could see past her deadly grace to the gentle soul beneath. In return, his own memories opened to her, his dedication to healing, his protective instincts, his growing love for a wounded alien warrior who had captured his heart completely. But it was more than just shared thoughts. Their very essence began to intertwine, creating something new and unprecedented. Marcus felt his human resilience merging with her crystalline grace, while his emotional warmth healed wounds in her spirit she hadn't even known existed. The healing energy flowed between them like liquid starlight, and Marcus watched in wonder as Zephyr's damaged spine regenerated, crystalline structures growing and connecting with impossible beauty. But he could feel the process drawing on his own life force, weakening him even as it strengthened her. "Marcus," her voice echoed in both his ears and his mind. "You're giving too much. Pull back some of your energy." "No," he responded mentally, pouring more of himself into her healing. "Take what you need." Stubborn human, she thought back, but her mental touch was flooded with love and gratitude. "Then I give you something in return." Power flowed back into him, not human strength, but something ethereal and profound. His body felt lighter yet stronger, his senses enhanced beyond a normal human capacity. When he looked at Zephyra, he could see the energy patterns flowing through her crystalline structures, could feel her heartbeat as if it were his own. The chamber's light reached crescendo, then gradually faded to a gentle glow. As the healing pod opened, Marcus helped Zephyr sit up, both of them marveling at what they had become. "Can you feel it?" Zephyra asked, slowly moving her legs with obvious joy and wonder. "Everything," Marcus replied, amazed at the connection between them. Her emotions flowed through him like music, happiness, relief, love, and something deeper that had no name in either language. Zephyr stood carefully, testing her restored mobility with the fluid grace of a born warrior. But when she turned to face him, her expression held something new, a softness that spoke of profound change. "We are bonded now," she said, reaching for his hands. "Life mates in every sense. Can you accept what we have become?" Marcus pulled her close, marveling at how perfectly she fit against him, how their heartbeats had synchronized. Through their link, he felt her need for reassurance, her wonder at finding love in the most unlikely circumstances. "I've never wanted anything more," he whispered against her hair. "Whatever we face now, we face together." Their kiss was electric, charged with the energy of their new bond. When they finally separated, both were glowing softly in the chamber's light. "Forever," Zephyra murmured, her crystalline patterns pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. "Forever," Marcus agreed, knowing their greatest adventure was just beginning. The station's corridors felt different now, as Marcus and Zephyra made their way back toward the communications ray. Through their neural bond, Marcus could sense threats before his enhanced human senses detected them, while Zephyra moved with a fluid grace that incorporated his tactical awareness. They were no longer two separate beings fighting for survival. They had become something entirely new. "3 levels up," Zephyra whispered, though her mental voice reached him simultaneously. Her crystalline formations pulsed with soft warning. "Patterns, I sense shadow burn, but they're different, agitated." Marcus felt what she meant through their connection. The enemy forces above weren't following normal patrol patterns. They seemed to be searching frantically, their movements erratic and desperate. "They're looking for something," he realized, his enhanced perception picking up electromagnetic signatures that would have been invisible to him before, or someone. Through their bond, understanding flowed between them. The Shadowburn had detected the energy discharge from the healing chamber. They knew something significant had happened, and they were determined to find its source. "We need to reach that communications ray," Marcus said, checking his medical supplies. In the aftermath of their bonding, several of his devices had been enhanced by residual crystalline energy. His scanner now detected life signs with unprecedented precision, while his emergency beacon could broadcast on frequencies he'd never accessed before. Together, Zephyra agreed, her hand finding his. The simple contact sent warmth through their shared consciousness, strengthening both of them. They moved through the maintenance tunnels with perfect synchronization, Marcus's human adaptability, combining with Zephyra's crystalline intuition to navigate hazards that would have stopped either of them alone. When Shadowburn scouts passed overhead, they instinctively pressed against each other, their shared stillness making them nearly invisible. "I can feel your heartbeat," Zephyra murmured during one such moment, her body warm against his in the cramped tunnel. "I can feel everything about you," Marcus replied, amazed at the intimacy of their connection. Through their bond, he experienced her warrior's confidence, her joy at being whole again, and underneath it all, a deep well of love that matched his own. The communications level presented their first real challenge. Shadowburn forces had established a perimeter around the array, their dark armor gleaming under the emergency lighting. Through their enhanced senses, Marcus and Zephyra could detect at least a dozen hostiles between them and their goal. "Frontal assault," Marcus suggested, though his tactical awareness, now enhanced by Zephyra's combat experience, immediately presented better options. "Something more elegant," Zephyra smiled, her crystalline patterns shifting to match his thoughts. "Watch and learn, my bonded mate." She stepped into the corridor with liquid grace, her restored mobility allowing her to move like flowing water. The Shadowburn spotted her immediately, but their reaction was confused rather than aggressive. They had expected to find a crippled warrior, not this radiant being whose very presence seemed to bend light around her. That moment of hesitation was all Marcus needed. Moving with speed and precision that surprised even him, he struck from concealment. His medical training, now enhanced by Zephyra's combat instincts, let him target nerve clusters and pressure points with devastating efficiency. The first 3 Shadowburn fell before they could raise an alarm. Zephyra danced among the remaining enemies, her crystalline formations creating dazzling light displays that confused their sensors, while her enhanced movements, now incorporating Marcus's unpredictable human tactics, made her impossible to track. Together, They flowed through the engagement like a perfect storm, each knowing exactly where the other would be. Beautiful, Marcus breathed as the last enemy fell, watching Zephyr's graceful form silhouetted against the communications rays. Blinking lights. We were beautiful, she corrected, moving into his arms. Their kiss was brief but electric, charged with the adrenaline of victory and the deeper satisfaction of perfect partnership. The communications array hummed to life under Marcus's enhanced touch, his devices interfacing with the station's systems in ways that should have been impossible. Through their bond, Zephyr's crystalline intuition guided his human technological adaptability, creating connections that transcended normal engineering limitations. Alliance Rescue Ship Meridian. This is Field Medic Marcus Reed, he transmitted, on the emergency frequency, to survivors aboard Kepler Research Station, requesting immediate extraction. The response came immediately, filled with relief and urgency. Marcus Reed, we show you as missing in action for days. What's your status? Alive and well. Marcus replied, his arm around Zephyr's waist. Both of us, both our records, show only human personnel at that facility. Marcus and Zephyr exchanged glances, suddenly aware that their bond, and what it represented, would need careful explanation. To both their peoples, it's complicated, Marcus said finally. We'll need to brief you in person. But Captain, I need you to know, we come as a unit. Whatever happens next, we stay together. Through their connection, he felt Zephyr's surprise at his immediate, instinctive protection of their bond, followed by a wave of love so profound it nearly overwhelmed him. Understood, Medic Reed. We'll have a shuttle at your coordinates in 20 minutes. Hold tight. As they waited for rescue, Marcus and Zephyr found themselves alone with the magnitude of what they had become. The bond between them wasn't just romantic or even spiritual, it was evolutionary, a bridge between species that had never successfully connected before. What happens now? Marcus asked, though through their link he could already feel her thoughts on the subject. Now we prove that love can transcend not just distance and difference, but the barriers that have kept our peoples apart, Zephyr replied, her crystalline patterns pulsing with determination. Together, we become something neither human nor crystalline has ever been before. The first of our kind, Marcus agreed, understanding flowing between them without words. As the rescue shuttle's lights appeared in the viewport, Marcus knew their greatest challenge wasn't behind them, it was ahead, but with Zephyr's hand in his and their hearts beating in perfect synchronization, he had never felt more ready to face the future. 6 months after their rescue from Kepler Station, Marcus stood before the assembled diplomats of 36 worlds, Zephyr radiant beside him in ceremonial robes that sparkled with bioluminescent patterns. The great assembly hall of New Geneva had never hosted anything like this, a joint human crystalline presentation that promised to reshape the galaxy's understanding of interspecies cooperation. Honored delegates, Marcus began, his voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. What we're about to share with you isn't just our personal story. It's proof that the barriers between our peoples exist only in our minds. Through their bond, he felt Zephyr's calm confidence flowing into him, steadying his nerves. In return, his determination strengthened her resolve. After months of medical examinations, psychological evaluations, and countless interviews, they had finally been granted this opportunity to address the galaxy's leaders directly. 6 months ago, I was a field medic who believed that human and crystalline physiology were fundamentally incompatible, Marcus continued. Today, I stand before you as living evidence that love transcends biology itself. Zephyr stepped forward, her crystalline formations pulsing in harmony with the translation devices. My people have maintained isolation for millennia, believing that emotional bonds weakened a warrior's effectiveness. Yet through my connection with Marcus, I have become stronger than ever before. Murmurs rippled through the assembly as she demonstrated, her movements flowing like liquid light while Marcus anticipated her actions perfectly. Their synchronized display showcased abilities that neither species possessed alone, enhanced reflexes, shared consciousness, and an intuitive understanding that made them greater than the sum of their parts. The neural bond we share isn't just romantic, Marcus explained, his hand finding Zephyr's. It's evolutionary. Our children will inherit traits from both species, creating possibilities we've never imagined. Children? Interrupted Ambassador Theron of the Outer Rim Coalition, his voice skeptical. Surely that's theoretical at best. Zephyr's smile was radiant as she placed Marcus's hand over her abdomen, where the first subtle signs of pregnancy were beginning to show. Not theoretical at all. Honored Ambassador, our daughter grows strong, already showing signs of both human adaptability and crystalline energy manipulation. The assembly erupted in excited conversations as the implications sank in through their bond. Marcus and Zephyr felt the shift in the room's emotional atmosphere, fear giving way to wonder, skepticism transforming into hope. What we propose, Marcus said as the chamber quieted, is a new kind of diplomacy. Not just treaties between separate peoples, but true integration, exchange programs, shared research, cultural fusion that benefits everyone. The Shadowburn War has shown us that isolation makes us vulnerable, Zephyr added. But unity, real unity, built on love and understanding rather than mere convenience, makes us invincible. Over the following hours, they answered hundreds of questions, demonstrated their abilities, and outlined a vision for the future that left few delegates unmoved. When the session finally ended, Marcus and Zephyr found themselves surrounded by representatives eager to begin the integration process. You've started something incredible, whispered Ambassador Chen Wei of the Asian Federation as she shook their hands. My granddaughter is studying xenobiology. She'll be fascinated by your research data. Send her to us, Zephyr replied warmly. We're establishing an institute for interspecies studies on Harmony Station, the first generation of truly integrated. Citizens will need teachers who understand both worlds. As the delegates filed out, Marcus and Zephyr remained in the Great Hall, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and violet through the massive windows. Do you think we've convinced them? Marcus asked. Though their bond already carried Zephyr's answer, we've given them hope, she replied, leaning into his embrace. That's all anyone can do. The rest will come from others like us, those brave enough to love beyond boundaries. Others like us, Marcus mused. Do you think there will be many? Through their connection, Zephyr shared a vision that took his breath away. Cities where human and crystalline architecture blended seamlessly. Children playing together regardless of their skin tone or bioluminescent patterns. Couples from dozens of species building lives together as they had done. I know there will be, she said softly. Love has a way of finding a path, no matter how impossible it seems. 5 years later, the garden behind their home on Harmony Station bloomed, with flowers from a dozen worlds, their colors shifting in the artificial daylight. Marcus watched their daughter Luminara chase butterflies between the crystalline fruit trees, her laughter mixing human joy with the musical tones of her crystalline heritage. At 3 years old, she was already remarkable. Her skin held a subtle pearl-like sheen that shifted between her father's warm tan and her mother's silver white, while her hair caught light like spun star silver. Most amazing of all were her eyes, which could shift from Marcus's brown to Zephyr's violet depending on her mood. She's going to be extraordinary, Zephyr said, settling beside him on the garden bench. Her own appearance had evolved over their years together, taking on warmer tones that reflected their bond while maintaining her ethereal beauty. She already is, Marcus replied, pulling his wife close. Through their connection, he felt her contentment, her pride in what they had built together, and her quiet joy at the news she was preparing to share. Marcus, she said softly, her crystalline patterns pulsing with barely contained excitement. I have something to tell you. He turned to face her, already sensing the wonderful secret through their bond. How far along? 2 months, she laughed, amazed that he had guessed so quickly. The medical scans show twins this time, a boy and a girl. Marcus swept her into his arms, spinning her round the garden as Luminara clapped her hands in delight. Their bond sang with shared joy, love, and anticipation for the future they were creating together. 3 children, he marveled, setting her down gently. We're really building a dynasty here. A dynasty of bridge builders, Zephyr agreed, each one carrying the potential to unite worlds. As they watched Luminara play, her small hands making the garden's crystalline flowers glow brighter with her inherited abilities. Marcus reflected on how far they had come. The institute they had founded was training the first generation of interspecies diplomats. The Shadowburn War had ended not through military victory, but through the hope their example had inspired. Even former enemies could find common ground when they saw love transcending every barrier. "Do you ever miss it?" Marcus asked. "Your old life as a warrior?" Zephyra considered the question, watching their daughter create small light displays with unconscious ease. "I am still a warrior," she said finally, "but now I fight for something greater than victory. I fight for a future where children like Luminara never have to choose between their heritage and their hearts, the most important battle of all." Marcus agreed. As the artificial sunset painted their garden in shades of gold and rose, the family gathered on their favorite bench. Luminara settled between her parents, her small hands glowing softly as she shared her day's adventures through the empathic connection all their children possessed through their bond. Marcus and Zephyr felt the peaceful contentment of a dream fulfilled. They had found love in the darkest circumstances, forged an impossible connection, and proven that the universe's greatest power wasn't technology or warfare. It was the simple miracle of two hearts choosing to beat as one. Above them, the stars of 100 worlds shone down on a galaxy, slowly learning that love truly could transcend any difference, bridge any gap, and unite any peoples brave enough to take the first step toward each other. Their story had become legend, but more importantly, it had become hope, proof that even in the vast darkness of space, love would always find a way to light the path home.